Forgot the light. Hey, Stephanie, how's it going?
Hey, Dr. Colin, I'm good. How are you?
Well, I should address you as Dr. Stephanie as well.
Oh,
So
I know more about it.
you're like Dr. Schmachter.
We're friends,
Semantics.
so it doesn't matter.
I like the fact that, in other languages like Spanish, it's like doctor and doctora, like there's a difference, and in English, we don't really have that, right?
I know. I love that. Speak Spanish or something on the next podcast.
Yeah. Or just move there, right? So like this is how I prefer to be, addressed. So Stephanie, thank you so much for hopping on. We're doing a whole week of this ultimate vegan health and weight loss bundle. And, we have the great pleasure of doing this again for the second year. And this was our first time meeting. Was it the same time last year? Was around how almost like a year ago? Yeah.
I think it was literally, exactly a year ago.
Okay, cool. That's how we met. We have yet to meet in person, but we're so close to each other, which is really, really cool. And so I wanted to start off, we're going to reintroduce ourselves to each other's audience. And why don't you go first and tell us, what you do and why you're so passionate in it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So I'm Dr. Stephanie Peacock. I'm a holistic doctor based out of Southern California, just like Dr. Colin here. And my focus is really on environmental toxins, plant-based nutrition, and gut health. That is three things that I am just super passionate about, just because I went through my own health journey that linked to needing to increase my nutrient intake through plant-based nutrition and reducing my environmental toxin exposure that was disrupting my hormones. And I'm a firm believer in it disrupting my gut health as well. And so, yes, I just like to tie the two in together when I'm working with my patients here. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Can you share a story where like what actually happened, when, you were exposed to, the environmental toxins? Because a lot of we're not really aware of this in conventional medicine, right? We have a very superficial, awareness and knowledge of it, but it's not really something that we're taught in school. Can you give us like a really brief like overview of, what we actually have produced in this world and how that can affect our bodies?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's over 84,000 different chemicals registered with the Environmental Protective Agency to be used in our everyday products. Less than 1% have been tested for human safety, but there's actually about 350,000 chemicals estimated for use worldwide that can get used in our products. And again, not many have been tested for human safety, but the ones that have been tested have been linked to disrupting our hormones. They've been linked to disrupting our gut health. And I'll give a couple of examples. So for example, like bisphenol, which most of us are aware of it as BPA, but there's actually 30 to 40 different variants of bisphenol. So that has actually been linked to type 2 diabetes, to heart disease, to altering our gut bacteria. And it's actually it's an endocrine disruptor. So it disrupts our delicate hormonal system. And in terms of just a personal experience, I actually dealt with hormone imbalances for about 10 years. And even after I had gone plant-based, I still had noticed something was still off. I actually had a missed menstrual cycle for many years. And I started reading the research on a lot of these hormone disrupting chemicals that were found in a lot of our everyday products. And this is from, the shampoos we're using, the laundry detergents we use, the dish soap we're using, like things like that. And even just plastics. So bisphenol is commonly found in plastics. And so just swapping out what I'm using to drink my water in and what I'm using to store my food in, that is when I started to see major changes in my health, because I was just constantly exposing my body to it over time. And so that's why I'm so passionate about it, because I do believe that the environmental toxins can be part of the missing link in some people's health journeys. I know it was for me. And so that's why I'm at least passionate about it being a part of like my regimen when I'm working with patients. So
Yeah. I mean, it's challenging enough to really keep up with everyday science and medicine, right? It's always evolving, changing. And, to be aware, I've known, environmental toxins for some time, and being aware of this and being knowledgeable and knowing what to do are very two different things, right? And it's so unfortunate that only you said 1%, less than 1% was actually tested. So that presents like this 99% of a whole host of other complications we are not even are aware of, right? And so, yeah, that just makes our work even more challenging. So, but I think prevention is the number one key. Would you say?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's truly too where the beauty of, and this is what I know brings us all together here in this bundle is plant-based nutrition. And that's the beauty of eating such nutrient dense foods is that they support our different detoxification pathways, our two big ones being our gut and our liver. And we know that we need specific nutrients and a variety of these nutrients, and the majority of them are going to come from a plant-based diet. So eating that majority diversity plant-based diet is going to really fuel your body and eliminating a lot of these toxins that you do come into contact with. So like you said, yeah, prevention is definitely key. Getting on a good diet, a good plant-based diet, and also just maybe taking some small steps over time and reducing your exposure to some of these widely studied environmental toxins makes a huge impact on your health. So
For sure, for sure. And it's already hard enough to like navigate everything. So, so for those of you who don't know me, or I'm reintroducing myself to Dr. Stephanie's audience, I'm Dr. Colin Zhu. Originally from New Jersey. I'm based in Southern California, just a stone's throw away from Dr. Stephanie here. And I'm a physician by trade. I've trained in family practice, and I specialize in lifestyle medicine, which is taking the 6 pillars, diet, food as medicine, physical movement, stress management, relationships, sleep, and to be able to apply that for our lifestyle related chronic diseases, which plagues probably influences and is our top 7 killers of death in this country. So, I found that to be very pivotal when I came across that. And I also study and specialize in culinary medicine, where we're using nutritional science and the culinary arts and marrying the two to be able to optimize one's wellness. And super excited to be on this bundle that is co-hosted by Chef AJ and Lissa from Raw Food Romance. And so, one of the things I would love to know is, when you're going about, do you see patients privately, or do you do a combination of, educational content, or both?
I do both. Yeah. Do both. And so majority of the patients that I'm seeing too are virtual. So it's been easier to sometimes do some of the educational work when it's virtual, right? So you can use Zoom and just kind of have a bunch of people in a chat room.
Yeah. And I always love the actual in-person, connection and the rapport. So, so let's talk about the bundle a little bit. What are you contributing for this year's bundle?
All right, thanks for asking. So I'm contributing, again, it's just really, it's an ebook, it's a 50-page ebook talking about environmental toxins and how they affect our gut microbiome and how they can actually contribute to weight gain. Because again, this bundle is kind of about, it's the ultimate vegan health and weight loss bundle. So I figured I would tie in that weight loss piece. And I had a lot of fun actually digging into the research for this specific book. So I really just kind of go over a little bit of a background about environmental toxins, kind of what I talked about a little earlier on this podcast, but then I just kind of go into a little bit more detail with it. And then I talk about the 5 most commonly studied environmental toxins that are really found in our everyday home and we don't realize it, that can contribute to disrupting our gut microbiome and also contribute to potentially increased weight gain. And so, and if somebody is on a weight loss journey and just feeling like, oh my gosh, why am I not seeing the results that I want to see? Sometimes it could be within those environmental chemicals I'll just give a quick little recap on how some of these toxins can actually affect our weight gain. So they can actually activate something called the PPAR gamma pathway. And that is the primary regulator of fat cell development and fat storage. So if they can impact that actually can contribute to potentially increasing weight gain and inability to lose weight, or what we term resistant weight loss. They can also act directly on the fat cells. They can make larger fat cells, and they can actually impact our hormones, leptin and ghrelin, which are hunger and satiety hormones. And that also plays a big part, obviously, in weight loss, because if you're never getting full, then you're going to just keep eating. So really very interesting stuff. And I tie it also into the gut microbiome, because I'm just so passionate about how these can also affect our good and bad gut bacteria. So we know we need those good gut bacteria to really reduce inflammation within our body. And for example, pesticides have been shown to, they've been actually linked to decreasing two major classes of bacteria, lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, which we really need to have, for decreased inflammation, and increasing those short chain fatty acids, which also decrease inflammation. So, so that's my book. And then I also include recipes at the very end, just for supporting.
You're like, it's a light read. It's a light read. Don't worry about it.
It's a light read. Yeah. Don't worry. Just if you feel like you need to just skip to the recipes at the end, if it's too much.
It's the equivalent of a crossword puzzle. It's not that bad.
Exactly. Yeah. You're just like, wait, what's going on? Okay. You know what? Forget it. Let me just get to the recipes.
So the gut microbiome, for those who've, are coming across this for the first time, is pretty much, we're literally, home, or actually, you have to think about this. Are we home to them, or are they home to us? Right. So, because there's actually, minimally 39 trillion other microorganisms, the equivalent of 9 to 10 of them to one human cell. So essentially, we're just one gigantic superorganism walking around. And there is more and more emerging science, having this crosstalk and connection with the immune system, which also lives 60 to 70% in our gut, right? And also has this beautiful cross connection with our brain health as well, via the vagus nerve. And so, like Dr. Stephanie's been mentioning, it's fascinating how we're learning about it and how it comes into play, because at the end of the day, how, a big part of it is, being exposed to the environment, through what we put into our system. So, have you found anything in terms of skin, skin being our largest organ, and how that, can eventually lead to the gut microbiome? Or do you feel like everything is just more like oral?
No. Actually, a big part of it too is what we are putting on our skin, what we are inhaling, and what we are ingesting. Absolutely. So I was just actually talking about this with somebody earlier, but there was this really fascinating study that was done on, I can't remember how many years ago it was done, but they actually took a few hundred households, and they measured the levels of different endocrine disrupting chemicals that were found in the dust particles. And they found 98% of the households had high measurable levels of BPA and phthalates, which are both disruptive to our gut microbiome and our hormones. And so very interesting. And the way, and what they talk about in the study is the way that you actually are mostly exposed to those chemicals is actually through inhalation and ingestion of the dust. So it is through different mechanisms, but also, like you said, on the skin, definitely, depending on the molecular weight of what is in the product, yes. So for example, phthalates is something that binds scents. It's something that gives a product that fragrancy smell. So if you see the word fragrance or parfum on the back of a bottle, it most likely contains phthalates, which disrupt our hormones in our gut. So yeah, it can be through inhalation. It can be through putting on your skin.
You know what? Let's just live in just the woods, and just have a cabin in the woods, and just hide away.
We can just create a little plant-based community, and we'll just all
go there's disruptors everywhere.
I know, exactly. The woods should be safe.
No. We want to be able to live as comfortably as possible, pursue a high quality of life, but also be very important to be aware of these different types of things that humans just continue to create, just unknowingly, all these different byproducts that we're not aware of, and not knowing the consequences, because sometimes it could take, some bit of time for things to kind of, emerge and bubble up to the surface. So
exactly. No, I love that you said that too. It's like, yeah, when you first hear it, you're like, should I just leave and just go live in a bubble somewhere? But actually, I lay it out in the book. There is some easy swaps that you can make for ones that you're just consistently exposing yourself to. And then, even just one swap, like switching your, plastic water bottle to a glass or stainless steel one, something simple like that can just amount to huge changes. Because if you think about it, you're drinking 8 to 10 glasses of water a day, hopefully. And so
Hopefully.
yeah. And so if you swap it to something that's not leaching those chemicals into your water, I mean, that's a huge difference. And that's really one of the first things I did. I didn't, just try to start it took me a couple of years to really start making some swaps. And I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to make the next change. And if you're stressed about it too, right, that puts us in that sympathetic state. And you had mentioned that connection between the gut and the brain, the vagus nerve, right? If we're in that sympathetic state, that impairs digestion, that impairs our liver's ability to detoxify everything. So yeah, stay nice and
Stress
calm.
a killer? I've never heard of that one.
I know, right? So just do some meditation, just try to drown out the chemicals that, that are in the world. It's fine. But yeah, so just making those few swaps, eating a good plant-based diet is just really the best you can do. And
well, that's a nice segue. My contribution is twofold. One is I'm contributing a whole food plant-based audio course 101. And for those that are curious about whole food plant-based, being a family practitioner, one of my biggest roles is really meeting people where they're at. And it's very simple. You have people from all walks of life and fall anywhere on the spectrum from, heavy, carnivore diet to standard American diet to all the way to whole food plant-based, low fat, oil free. So I try to meet people where they're at, and I gravitate towards these 3 words: eat more plants. And so it's good for yourself, good for the environment, right? And the course is really just to help transition. How do you stock your pantry, fridge, and freezer? How to navigate supermarket? What are the basic go-tos for kitchen appliances and utensils? The second item is my 21-day challenge based off of my book, Thrive Medicine. And Thrive Medicine is half self-memoir, half self-empowerment. And it really focuses on tools, strategies, on shifting towards a positive mindset. We all know that during the pandemic, mental health has come up to the surface for headlines. There's been a whole bunch of resources, hopefully, more and more for everyone. But it's important to really have a good captain of the boat, right? A good mindset for that captain, or else we're just going to steer off course. And so I've created a video companion to the audiobook. And new year, new milestones, new beginnings, why not, right? So those are my 2 contributions, and they can be found on my app. And so the bundle has instructions on how to do that. So Dr. Stephanie, do you have any parting words for the bundle in general, or just in general life?
Yeah. Well, actually, I wanted to kind of play off what you just said there. I love how you said that about having the right mindset for the captain. And that's something that when I'm working with my patients that I always say, the brain, imagine like our body's like a symphony and then the brain is the conductor of it. Right. And so getting into that mindset of, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish or incorporate into your lifestyle is like super important. So I really think that is super fantastic that's something that you really focus on. And did you say that you have, is it 6 pillars that you focus on? Is that right?
Yeah. Lifestyle medicine is based off of 6 pillars. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So real quick, just for the listeners, what are the 6 pillars?
So, give me a pop quiz. So you have diet, diet, food is medicine. You have physical movement, stress management, social connectedness, restorative sleep, and then also avoiding risky substances. So like smoking, alcohol, drug use, things like that. Mm-hmm.
I love this. I love all of those, but the social connectedness, I think, is so important.
Super key.
That community and that support, right? Like that's just so important. So I think that's really important. And oftentimes I mean, not that it has to be in everyone's pillars of healing, but I think that oftentimes gets missed when I ever hear people chatting about what they think is really important for overall health. And so I think that having that community aspect is just like so key in helping.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The longest adult study out of Harvard, it's like 75 years plus now, really focused on relationships. And they said that having high quality, positive relationships is the best predictor for your overall health and longevity. So, and that's important, you know what I'm saying? So we're social beings. We're meant to really be with one another. And when working with one another, we are, stronger, together. It's not just a tagline, we can do great things is, So last words from, on behalf of both of us is that this bundle is only a limited amount of time, ends February 12th, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time, standard time. And so it's only once a year. So, if you don't get it, it's going to be gone. So, and I looked at it, and it was a lot. It will probably take some of us more than a year to kind of really finish through everything.
I know. It's amazing. The bundle has like so many recipes, like over 2,000 recipes. I've already made a few of them. I'm like obsessed because there's like recipes for everything. Like it's just amazing. And so I just love it. So, and they're most of them are, I would say actually all of them are pretty simple. And so far the ones I've made, I just picked some random ones and I already had all the ingredients. So most likely anyone here who's listening will have all the ingredients as well, or just have to buy a couple extra ones just to make a delicious plant-based meal that's super nutrient dense. And yeah, it's amazing. There's about 122 contributions. It's worth over $6,000, but it's only $49 until, is it February 12th? Is that when it's last day, right? So yeah, it's only for like 5 more days. So we gotta get on it, take a look at it, links in our bios, and just take a look and see what it has to offer. You will not be dissatisfied with it. That's for sure.
Dr. Stephanie, it was always a pleasure to connect and keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great things. And I can't wait to, connect further. And guys, don't miss out on this bundle. All right. So until next time, I will say, see you later.